Hunter, logical landing spots. 5 teams and a favorite. The Bucks, the Rams, the Texans, the Bears, and the Detroit Lions. Lions have the cap space. They're going to be on most of these lists, but it's also like a real fit here. 16 sacks last year, double digits for the last 5 years. Opposite Aiden, less blitzing, more guys in coverage, more time for the guys in coverage. The asking price, or the price that CBS Sports set, was a 3-year deal. Sound good?
Yep, I'm good with that.
$67 million, about $22 a year. Sound good? Mm-hmm. The destination was the Chicago Bears. Still good?
Nope, because they, at the trade deadline, correct me if I'm wrong, they went out there and they signed they traded for Montez Sweat, and then they ended up signing him with another 4 years. And when Detroit played them the second time, he was a factor in that game. Now you got 2 edge guys. If they are the ones that land Danielle Hunter, they just signed Jalen Jansen. They also have 2 linebackers that they went out and paid big money for last offseason. Their defense is looking pretty stout. Now, I'm okay with that a little bit because you have the strength of the Lions is the offense and the offensive line. But I don't necessarily want to have to try and figure out how are we going to block Montez Sweat and Danielle Hunter on a regular basis, along with those linebackers in the middle and a good secondary. Like, I would just prefer that instead of talking about Montez Sweat paired with Danielle Hunter, we're talking about Aiden Hutchinson paired with Danielle Hunter.
He was the guy that I identified as the big target I wanted in my Honolulu blueprint. And he's the guy who will be a free agent because he can't be franchise tagged. He's the player I would love to see in Detroit. If he's not, and on top of it, it cuts deep because he's in the division, Montez Sweat made a difference for the Bears last season.
Yeah.
He's not the sole reason that they won more at the end of the year, but it was a difference, a noticeable difference having him there. Imagine that. They traded for a pass rusher, they paid him, and it made a difference. Lions didn't want to pursue Sweat. Fine, they still went to the NFC title game. No one's crying over it. But if you miss out on another pass rusher and they both end up in the same division and the Bears end up being a formidable foe, it's going to bother fans. It's going to bother me at least.
The Bears have put themselves in position with the trades, with their draft stock, with their salary cap, and the room that they have to spend to make a huge jump this year. And in the coming years. They started it last year. And now the Lions right now are kind of in that same position. You got a guy that you believe can maximize the draft. And let's give it to Brad Holmes. Hats off. He's been able to be very good in the draft. This is the first year where they've had a lot of room on the salary cap to add to this roster, to add to this team, to address specific needs. They did it a little bit last year with the corners and the safeties. But they were plagued with injury.
Next week, this stuff's going to start happening.
Monday.
Yeah. Do you think he ends up at one of those 5 teams?
I do, and I kind of think it's maybe more the Houston Texans, which won't concern me as much because obviously we don't have to worry about they're in the AFC. We'd see them in the Super Bowl. But when you're thinking about Will Anderson and being able to pair him with another edge guy like this, and D'Amico Ryan's their coach, knows exactly, coming from San Francisco, what have they done there? They've always had a couple of pass rushers there. They've been able to benefit from that. He knows the benefits and he's a defensive guy. I think that would probably be, because they got the cap space to do it. They've got the draft capital to address other things and bring in talent, but that would be my number one concern.
Texans and Bears, both more cap space than the Lions. Mm-hmm. So those are the 2 bigger threats.
And you can have all the cap space you want. It's just a matter of allotting the right number and attracting, and the problem is when it comes down to just, dollars. Where's the comma? How many zeros? What's the number? When you're competing against a team in Texas, they can offer the same contract, but it's going to mean more because there's no state income tax. It's going to be more money in the pocket.